Hey friends, Josh Byrd here with the Growthwell Podcast, where we explore the art of balancing professional growth and personal well-being. Thanks to Market Scale, as always, for making this podcast happen. If you want to know about them, you can click in the links below. But today I have a fantastic guest I'm really excited for. It is a dynamic sales leader, a woman I've worked with personally. I can't wait for you to meet. Her name is Rhonda Quintana. She's working for an awesome startup right now, and she's coming to us live from Dallas, Texas. So welcome, Rhonda.
Thank you, Josh. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, pleasure to have you. I always love talking with you, so I'm really looking forward to this. So, for our listeners, tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about the work you're doing and your personal life, if you don't mind sharing those things.
Yeah, of course. Well, I have been in healthcare for over 25 years. It's probably a little bit over that, but I'll never say that because that will potentially age myself. We'll just say 25 years. So I've been in healthcare for 25 years, really serving provider organizations and helping them solve some of their biggest business challenges across their enterprises. And so, currently I'm the chief growth officer of a dynamic Series A company called Olio, and really I have responsibility today for not only growth of the company but also marketing, our client success, market management group, as well as market performance and market intelligence. And so, lots of moving parts, lots of exciting work going on within our organization, and just really have the pleasure of working with a very dynamic team solving some really big challenges in healthcare for value-based care organizations. And so if you think about, the work that's being done today in value-based care organizations, there's a really big problem around care teams that are really trying to serve patients throughout the continuum of care. And really, we're serving those organizations that are really trying to find a better and more simple process to bring all those care teams together, hold all those people accountable to the outcomes that they're really seeking for their patients and for their organizations.
Yeah.
Personally, I am very happily married and have a 13-year-old bonus son who I call is pretty much a man child. He is, wearing a size 12 and a half men's shoes. So,
Wow.
Send help. I need an extra refrigerator and an extra freezer in my house to feed all the people.
That's awesome. You also have some fur babies, right?
I do. I have 3 dogs. We have one that is 17. She is the original girl, we call her. Her name is Nike. We have kind of a new addition that we added about 7 or 8 months ago. That's Luna. She is a German Shepherd mix that is just a ball of energy and so much fun. And recently we have fostered, well, let's just say we foster failed very quickly. And fostered a dog that was actually a part of a pack for a family friend that had unfortunately passed away, and she needed a home. And so, welcome to the Q household.
What a full household, and must be fun. But it's busy. You got your hands full. So, I know you well, but tell people kind of your purpose. Why do you do it? I mean, you've got to balance your family and this amazing job you have at Olio and your fur babies and your personal, interests that we'll get into in a little bit. But I find that successful people have to start with their why. So what drives you? What gets you up in the morning?
Well, I can tell you, I have a couple of life experiences that I'll share with you that have kind of framed up my passion around this work that I do around healthcare, being in healthcare, and really trying to solve a lot of these challenges in healthcare. And, at the age of 8 years old, my dad had a massive heart attack, and it changed our lives forever. I got to witness firsthand, just growing up, the access to healthcare, how hard it was to access healthcare. And really to afford healthcare was a really big challenge for our family. And so, as I became a young adult, I struggled with my own health challenges and was really sick for a really long time, just unexplained type of really kind of debilitating kind of symptoms at times in my, early adult life. And I kind of floated around the health system for about 12 years before I ended up at the right place at the right time with the right provider to ask the right questions to then find out that I was celiac. So I'm a gluten-free eater. I've been a gluten-free eater for about 15 years, and it changed my life. And so really my purpose today is to really do really two things. And because of those personal experiences, it really gave me some energy around finding ways to work in healthcare. And I ended up on the business side of healthcare. I did get my degree in biology and pre-med, but I knew I didn't want to be a doctor. So I ended up on the business side of healthcare and again, solving these big challenges. And so what I had an opportunity to do was be involved in healthcare operations, running private practices, doing a lot of things to interact with and really understand the challenges that really are happening at the point of care, how hard this is for providers to do their work, and really how challenging, even more so today than ever, that it is for clinicians really to do what they were trained to do, which is take care of patients and actually practice medicine. So there's really two big whys for me. One is if I can do something to help simplify the way that people get to the right providers and make that journey really simple, or, well, maybe it's not an or, it's an and bring the joy of practicing medicine back to clinicians. That's my why. That really is kind of the legacy that I really intend to leave, in healthcare, and really what I'm striving to do.
That is a much needed legacy. So thank you for doing the work you're doing. I was actually visiting an orthopedist yesterday and just looking around at all the technology that they have to deal with. And, I've worked in healthcare tech, you work in healthcare tech, and all of it is well-meaning, but there's a lot of clutter as well. And you hear a lot about physician burnout and things like that. And I think we as technologists can actually really help with that. So it's really awesome that your mission is really centered and focused around that. I also find that people like you who have so much to balance, often have rituals, habits, routines, things that keep them grounded. And that's really what this show is about, is learning from people like you. How do you keep yourself grounded with such a massive mission and a busy life?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That I have to just be completely transparent and tell you that has in parts of my professional career been a real big challenge. It's still a big challenge. And there were parts of my career where I was literally, working to live, not living to work. And so some of those things, I really had to have an honest conversation with myself, look in the mirror and say, is this really the life that you want to live? Right. And so I think the ways that I show up, and the ways that I try to make sure that I have balance in my work and personal life, or doing things that are like, for example, yoga. I am a yogi. I love doing yoga. It's one of the places where I feel like I can be very mindful. I can disconnect from technology. My body feels great afterwards. Like, that's kind of one of my physical kind of guilty pleasures, if you will, that really allow me to kind of completely disconnect from the work. I'm very creative in certain ways, and I love being creative in the kitchen. And so again, I have to be really intentional about, carving out time and making sure that I get in the kitchen, I have fun, I do things that, that bring me joy. I think that's kind of the thing that people have to decide, like, what are the little things like that bring you joy? It's actually bringing a lot of joy in my house for my husband and my bonus son when I choose to use that creative outlet. But I do love that. And, with my personal journey and in being a gluten-free eater and being celiac, I've had to really learn how to cook things that I love in a gluten-free format, right? So it kind of challenges me, and it puts me in a position to, to share that love with other people at the same time. And then, I would say probably my third kind of guilty pleasure in the way that I find balance is by spending time outside,
Mm.
gardening and hiking and doing those things where I'm just getting fresh air, and I'm being, again, very intentional about getting away from my computer, my phone, those types of things. And I think that's really the key. The key is really developing and carving out time and ways, and just saying to yourself, like, I need to do this, and I need to schedule time in my schedule to be able to have some balance. I'll just probably say lastly that a lot of people that you probably talk to are morning people.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of have these rituals in the morning, and they wake up and do all the things. And my routine, as much as I would love to be a morning person, I'm a night owl. And so really the way that I kind of show up to work every day is my planning is kind of the night before. And I'm really thinking about what are the things I have to accomplish tomorrow for the rest of the week, kind of looking, out. It's my time to kind of really have few distractions for me to kind of plan my week and to think about how am I going to, use the best use of my time. So,
yeah, I find that it's more important to plan. Doesn't matter really when you do it, as long as when you get into your day, you know what you're doing. I am one that's extremely ADHD, and if I don't have a plan written down in front of me and time blocked, I am not going to have a very successful day, right? I am not a morning person, but I do start my day with planning, but I admire doing it the night before. You can go to bed and wake up and just get after it. So that's awesome. But, I know, and in work like we do, life knocks you off balance. You're making time for this at the end of a quarter as a sales leader. It's a crazy time. I know that. So thank you, first of all, for making time for this. But, what systems or people do you have in your life or structure have you set up to kind of help you recognize when you're off balance? And, I know for me, I don't always recognize it as soon as my wife does. Right. And so what things around you kind of help you understand where you are in that emotional state, right?
yeah, I think similarly to what you described, I think that, my family, first and foremost, will be the absolute first people to tell me, hey, looks like you need a break, or, those types of things. And so my husband is my rock. My 13-year-old bonus son is quite wise for his age, and I get some tidbits from him as well that are pretty insightful. And I'm like, whoa, my 13-year-old is telling me, hey, if something's going on here, then, it is compels you to listen. I also have some people, I have curated, I think a professional network of people here locally and beyond that I feel like I stay connected with pretty regularly, and we're very intentional about coming together at least once a month, every other month, and either we do that virtually or we do it in person. And this is the thing that we talk about, right? How do you do things? And we share ideas, and that's really been, very helpful for me as I'm kind of, building my professional journey along the way and learning from others that have had, experiences that I can learn from. It's been key. And then lastly, my team
Yeah.
at Olio really is very good about, all of us saying, hey, we understand the mission, but we also understand that there's a life after Olio,
Right.
right? And so it's infused in the culture. And so we all are very in tune with each other in terms of making sure that we are protecting, our mental and physical well-being, as well as getting work done,
Right.
within the organization.
That makes for such a powerful team when you can just talk about it, right? And you can say, hey, I'm struggling with this at work, or, actually this is going on at home, guys. So if I'm a little short, if I'm a little snippy, I saw a concept one time where it was like a mood elevator, right? And it's like, hey, where are you on the mood elevator? Just so we
Yes.
know, and there's no wrong answer.
That's right.
As long as you're in, sort of a circle of trust that you've built. So that's really awesome. And, I think that that's key. So if continuing on with that thought, if, you identify that, hey, you're off balance, hey, things are a little bit too stressful, what do you do to sort of bring yourself back into balance? Do you have a go-to thing? Some people throw in a song, some people go to yoga. What is your go-to to bring yourself just back into balance?
Oh man. I do love music, and music is very therapeutic for me.
Do
I
you
love
have
all
a
kinds of music.
Do you have a go-to song?
Oh, it depends on what we're talking about, right? If we're talking about a theme song, ooh, yeah, I don't know. I got to think about that.
Yeah.
I'll come back to that with a good
Music's
answer.
music's powerful, and it depends on my mood too. I can go anything from classical piano to, getting excited for this podcast. I was listening to Foo Fighters really loud, and it was fun, right? It's
We'll
just
go with Thunderstruck. We'll
there
go with
you go.
Thunderstruck. AC/DC.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
there you go. That gets anybody fired up. I
yeah.
mean,
I would say there is one absolute go-to that I have, and I think what what we do in our family is that when life is tough, when you're having a bad day, when things just aren't going the right way, or you're just like you're in a funk,
mm,
go serve others.
mm,
Go out and
that's good.
volunteer. Go and help somebody. Go help a family member. Go help a neighbor. Do something to get out of yourself and to go serve others. And I guarantee you, you will put yourself in a whole different perspective. And then you'll look at your situation and say, you know what? My situation's, I don't think that bad. Life's pretty good,
Yeah.
So that really is our go-to in our family, is that when you're just in a funk, go serve others.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's a guy, gosh, I'll have to find the quote and put it in the comments below, but there's a guy that I saw the other day, and he said, if you want to change the world, change somebody's day. And I loved it. It was so simple, but it's like, we think about these big, huge missional things, and we love those. I love those. But start by holding a door open and smiling at somebody and saying, hey, how you doing? Or call somebody and say, hey, just thinking about you today, right? I think we can do so much serving just by looking around us. So I think that is an amazing thing. And I love that you have instilled that in your family as well. I think that's so cool. So
that's literally the tagline that I leave my son with every morning, is go make somebody smile.
I love it. I love it. That is so, I might steal that. I say something similar, but I love that. It's so simple, but it's so meaningful. So, you might have just said it, but there's a lot of people trying to find balance between professional growth and personal well-being, and not a ton of resources. So, from your own experience, what advice would you give others who are really trying to pursue that balance?
I would say there's two things that I would tell you. One is, and I've said this earlier in our discussion, but you have to be intentional about it.
Yes.
You have to, because the day will get away from you, the week will get away from you, the month will get away from you. And you've looked up and you haven't done anything for yourself, or you haven't done anything to kind of really, again, balance the life. You have to do that. And it was very interesting. This was actually probably about 10 years ago. And I heard Lee Corso, so the Lee Corso from ESPN Game Day.
Right.
I heard him do a talk for a company meeting that I was at, and he really instilled this idea around leaning on your family And really, like, those are the people that are going to be there,
Yeah.
right? When stuff gets bad. And he described this whole thing when, he got fired from a coaching job and, that sort of thing. And it stayed with me. And so I'm really intentional about showing up for family activities,
Right.
being there. It's important to me. Be intentional. And then I think that you have to be, as a leader, no matter what you're doing in your company, you have to be unapologetic about showing the teams that that's important to you.
Yes.
And so if you want that for yourself, you have to kind of be unapologetic with your teams about, hey, I've got a track meet this afternoon to go and see Ike perform, right?
Right.
I'm not apologizing for carving out that time because I know I'm getting my work done and I know that I'm doing the other things that have to happen in order for us to be successful. So I think those are the two things. Be intentional and be unapologetic about showing your teams that you care about work-life balance and that you're going to follow those same recommendations.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the things that I love that you said kind of in passing, but it's like, I'm getting my work done and people know that, right? So it's not I'm going to just take my balance and, work can wait. It's a very intentional thing to get your work done at a high level, but also carve out that time. And I think that takes practice. It can take years and years of practice and that intentionality that you're talking about.
And I even think even since COVID, right, where a lot of people are working from home. Now I've been a remote, employee for a long time in my sales career, right? I've been, I travel all over the United States and that was kind of commonplace for me. But to the extent that we all work from home now in certain times, it's really, there's no commute. There's no disconnect from the work and your home life a lot of times. And so that for me has been a really big intentional kind of action I have to take to really walk away from the work when it's family time. And again, just set those boundaries to where I know during these times, I'm going to focus here. And so, and I understand that that's sometimes really, really tough. I would say that the key to success there is just communication is the key, right? When I know that I'm going to have a killer month, like for example, this month coming up is going to be a killer month.
Yeah.
My husband and I, my family and I, we've already talked about it. Next month, I'm going to need your help. Next month, it's going to be a little crazy. And so when you kind of set those expectations and you have a conversation about it, you tend to not have those moments where you have kind of the tension and the, what's going on here. I think that communication is key as well to having that work-life balance and making sure that when it's a little bit more work because things are crazy, that's going to come back and you're going to get the support from the people around you. And that's maybe your family, it may be friends, it may be your work colleagues, etc. But communication is definitely the key.
Oh, that is huge. And, over 14 years of marriage, I've learned some of those lessons, but somehow I keep forgetting some of them too. But that's life. We live and learn and love. Right. So,
yes.
What's next for you? What's next on your on the horizon for your growth journey? Are the things you're excited about, exploring, about to read, trips, big business things? It doesn't matter. But I love what's next? It's fun to look forward and dream.
So travel's a big fun topic here in the Quintana household. So we do love to travel. So talking about some upcoming trips that we want to have. I would say that, professionally, I'm a lifelong learner of how to be the best problem solver to help, our provider organizations and the people that we work with. How to do that in the best way and how to make that really easy for them. And so I'm constantly looking for ways to do that. I'll tell you, this is not a guilt, this is not like a shameless plug, but I am starting to look at the courses in masterclass because I just think that there's some information in there that's, cross industry that I think I benefit from. And so I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone and learn about other things that I think will make me just a more well-rounded person, leader, wife, friend,
Yeah.
colleague, all those things. And so that's kind of the next thing on my horizon, is to see if I can, get some
Yeah.
nuggets out of some of the master classes that are coming up.
That's awesome. I love hearing about your travel and, the things you're excited about. You mentioned masterclass. I'm a masterclass subscriber. And there's a lot of business things, but there's some good cooking on there. There's some good dog training on there. There's some really interesting things to kind of go learn about. And so I think you'd love it. This podcast is not sponsored by Masterclass, but I do suggest that you check them out, and maybe we'll put a link, and maybe Masterclass, if you're listening,
Who knows?
We could talk. No, it's a great resource. So I think that's awesome to hear about. Thank you so much for being here. This has been really fun. I always love talking with you. So I really appreciate it.
Well, this has been amazing. And this is a topic that I think a lot of people think about, but they don't really have a lot of resources to kind of come together with others to share ideas. And so thank you for having me. Thank you for having this podcast to give people like me a resource to come and learn from others. And it's been a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. So that is a wrap, friends. I hope you enjoyed the podcast today. So much fun talking to Rhonda. Look, if you like this, if you like what you're hearing, you know what to do. Comment, subscribe, like, share, all of the things. Help this podcast and this message grow. Again, thanks to Market Scale for making this happen. You can learn more about them in the links below. And until next time, I hope you go out there this week and pursue growth well.